Welcome to May's Jazz Standard of the Month. In this video, you're going to learn the chords to Cole Porter's iconic standard, Night and Day. We'll also get into some typical variations that people like to use when playing this tune and explore the harmony, because I can tell you now, Cole Porter was a songwriter who really liked to give us some nice harmonic twists and turns. Check the description for a link to PDFs of the chords and the chart, which you can download for free over at my website. You'll also find in the description a link to my Patreon page where I do a deep dive with the standard of the month. Now, let's get onto it. So let's think about the form first, because this one's a bit unusual. Most tunes of this time have the typical 32 bar AABA form. Now this one though has 48 bars, and I think the easiest way to think about it is as being AAB form. Now let's check that key signature. There's no sharps or flats, which means the key of C major. Now sometimes people like to play this in E flat major, and F too, I think. I think it makes sense to do it in C, an easy key to understand it in first. So let's think about what C major means. C major means the following chords when we harmonize the major scale. C major 7, D minor 7, E minor 7, F major 7, G7, A minor 7, B minor 7 flat 5. And I've got to play a C at the end to resolve. Now remember, anything we see outside of those chords is an out of key chord, and it's one that you're going to have to treat carefully when soloing, or certainly be mindful of. Now onto the A section chords. So the A section starts out on D minor 7 flat 5 for a bar, G7 for a bar, and then 2 bars of C major 7. We do that all again. And then there's quite a departure with this next chord. Move up to F sharp minor 7 flat 5. And then the bass is going to descend because we're going to go to a semitone down to an F minor 7, go down a semitone again, E minor 7, it's a lovely movement this, and then E flat diminished there, so we've gone down again, and then we're going to go one more time, D minor 7 here, G7, and then I like going to a C6 9 here. So that would be, going to do that twice. This nice falling progression. Go to that C6 9. Now that would happen twice, identical each time. So some really interesting points so far. We've got D minor 7 flat 5 G7 C. That's not the normal expected 2-5-1 in C major. We've also got this section, which is pretty crazy, right? Now I'll go into that later, but let's get onto that B section now. So the B section moves away from the C major feel to begin with and goes to this E flat major 7 for 2 bars, and then down to C major 7 for 2 bars, and it goes back up and then back down to C major 7. So it's got E flat C, E flat C, and it then picks up the familiar 4 down, F sharp minor 7 flat 5 for a bar, F minor 7 for a bar, E minor 7 for a bar, E flat diminish, and then back home, D minor 7, G7 to C6 9, 2 bars. Let me play that all through for you. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, E flat major 7, 2 bars of C major 7. Work your way back to E flat, back down to C, and then F sharp minor 7 flat 5, E minor 7, E flat diminished, D minor 7, G, finishing on C6 9. And that takes you through the A section and the B section. Remember, it's A, A, B. Now I'm sure you can hear that E flat major is quite a departure. It's quite an interesting chord to have used. We'll discuss that later, but first off, let me play the chords through for you slowly and close up. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. super common variation is to the very first chord of the song. Instead of playing D minor 7 flat 5, people often play A flat major 7 or then the G7 to the C. So it would sound, instead of D minor 7 flat 5 to C, you get this. Which sounds quite nice. Sounds a bit more intense harmonically, I think. Or a bit more, well, different quality to it anyway. Now, it's interesting this because the melody note at the top, when the song starts, is a G, which is the major 7th of this A flat 7 chord. I've got it on the top there, you see. So that works really nicely. And why it works, there's some shared notes between the two chords. D minor 7 flat 5 is D, F, A flat, C, whereas A flat major 7's A flat, C, E flat, G, so they share two notes. They're also a tritone away from each other, which is quite a strong musical relationship. But, you know, so you will see sometimes people playing that. So if you're playing this with someone else, someone's either going to play that D minor 7 flat 5 or they're going to play A flat diminished, and you just have to argue over which is best, whichever you prefer. And a hip sub for the first two chords is to play what's known as the 2-5 backdoor, leading back to C. So replace the D minor 7 flat 5 and G7 with F minor 7, or F minor 9 is quite nice. It's got a G on top, which is the melody note, to B flat 7, going to C major 7. Now, there's many different ways you can get back to chord 1, C major 7. The most obvious way is via G7 chord 5. Another alternative is what's called the backdoor, which is a dominant, a tone beneath chord 1. So if you've got C major 7, go down 2 frets. You've got B flat, do a dominant from there, and it leads back to 1. Listen, if I play 1 and the backdoor, B flat 7, like that. Now, you'll see here in the variation, I've got F minor 9, B flat 7, so that backdoor, to C chord 1. Now, the F minor 9 is the 2 of B flat 7. B flat 7 is the 5 chord in the key of E flat major. F minor is the 2 chord, so what we're doing is like, really it's 2-5 in E flat major, but resolving via the backdoor to C major as an alternative to expressing this. And that B flat 7 gives us some kind of juicy intervals instead of the G7. It kind of creates a G7 altered sound. But all of these variations, they're great fun to play with, but just be careful when you're playing with other people. You don't want to surprise people too much. You might have to discuss these things about what changes are we going to play. So, on to the harmony. Before we get into it, I just want to say how much I adore Cole Porter's songwriting. His chords, they don't take you to expected places, and as a result, he left a body of work which is really striking compared to other composers of the time. Take just the first 4 bars. You know, how many jazz standards start with a 2-5-1 in a major key? Plenty. And you'd expect it to be just D minor 7, G7 to C. But no, what does Cole Porter do? He uses a minor 7 flat 5 chord instead of a minor 7 chord, which is a very different sound, to G7 to C. So what we've actually got going on in the first 8 bars, we've got a 2 chord, but it's not D minor 7. So I've labelled it as a 2-7 flat 5. So it's a borrowed chord, if you like, from the key of C minor. And it has that minor feel, like you'd expect it to go D minor 7 flat 5, G7 to C minor. But no, he gives us that bright ending. And it says, you are the one. And there's no coincidence, I don't think, between the match, between the way the chords work there and the lyrics. Listen to it. It's got a really nice, bright, happy ending to what feels like quite a somber start. So it's a 2 chord, but it's changed, swapped out for a minor 7 flat 5 chord. So G7 chord 5, resolving to chord 1. Another reason I think this D minor 7 flat 5 chord works, D minor 7 flat 5 actually contains the same notes as F minor 6, with D minor 7 flat 5 being D, F, A flat, C, F minor 6 being F, A flat, C, D. So the same set of notes, but just in a different order. Now, one of the big things composers like to use is what's called the minor 4, where you take the chord 4, F major 7 in the key of C, and make it minor, so you for its dramatic effect. So I kind of feel really, not is this just like a him messing with the 2-5-1, but it's also kind of invoking the feel of the minor 4 chord. To me, anyway. So that happens twice. 2-5-1 with the 2 swapped out for its usual minor 7 to a minor 7 flat 5. And then things take a really interesting turn. So this sequence occurs a few times in the song. And we hit this F sharp minor 7 flat 5 chord, which feels quite a departure. If you think you're going from the root C to F sharp, which is the tritone. Now, we get an F chord in the key of C, as we've talked about, chord 4. So this is a sharp 4 chord, moving to chord 4, but as a minor. That just falls so nicely. I think one of the things that works here is just these 4 chords descend, and the notes are so close to each other, the chords just kind of fall into each other. There's this sort of sense of inevitability of getting to that next chord. So sharp 4, the F sharp, then we got the chord 4 as a minor, then E minor 7 finally, chord 3, which is in the key, and then we go to E flat diminished, so that's the flat 3 diminished, which falls nicely down into a D minor 7, and I'm playing this as a D minor 7, not a D minor 7 flat 5, so that's chord 2 to G7 to chord 1, and I put it as C6 9 there. That's what I like to play there. So it resolves to chord 1. So this B section starts out on this kind of uplifting but unexpected E flat major 7. To really understand this, we need to see where we've come from. We've just come from a 2-5-1, D minor 7, G7 going to that C6 9. And if you think about where the bass is moving, it's moving up a minor 3rd from C to E flat. And here we've got to think, what's the relationship between E flat and C? Because there is one, it might be slightly distant or removed if you like, but if you look at this circle of fifths, look at E flat major, its relative minor is C minor. So E flat major is the relative major of the parallel minor of C major. A bit long-winded, I know, but there's another way I like to think about this if it's easier. Think about the chord tones in an E flat major 7. E flat, G, B flat, D. If you just thought of C minor 7, you'd have C, E flat and G. If you had and B flat, sorry. So there's some shared notes there. And actually, if I played this chord and added a C in the bass, we'd actually have E, C minor 9. So I kind of feel like this E flat major kind of brings about the feeling of minor to major, because this chord is so closely related to C minor. It feels like we're going, in a nicer way, C minor to C major. You know, if he'd have gone, it wouldn't maybe have sounded so good, but I kind of feel like it's invoking that feel of minor to major. A bit like that bit in the start where the C major comes in, where maybe if you first heard it, you'd expect C minor at the end of that progression. But typical twists and turns, as I said, of Cole Porter's wonderful songwriting. In terms of Roman numerals for that E flat major to C major, we're going to call that E flat major 7 a flat 3 chord, because chord 3 in C major would be E minor 7, so we call it flat because we're a semitone down from E with E flat, and then obviously C major 7 is chord 1. So we're alternating between a flat 3 major chord and chord 1. So what about the rest of it then? Well, it's stuff we've already had. That rundown, nothing different there. Rolling out with the 2-5 to resolve to C to finish off. So that was my lesson on Night and Day. Be sure to check the description for a link to the PDFs from today's lesson. If you've got a question, if there's something you haven't quite understood, something you want me to clarify, then leave me a comment and I will get back to you. And don't forget, check out also the link to my Patreon, where this month you can, depending on what tier you join, you can learn a comping study, like the one on the screen, and there's also a chord tone outline to get a good handle of your arpeggios and how you can work them over chord changes. And then finally there's also 2 solos, a beginner level solo and an intermediate level solo for people to get stuck into. If you'd like another video from myself on one of the topics that came up today, then check out this video on the backdoor dominant on the screen. Anyway, thanks for watching. Until next time, you take care.